So you got to be investing in the right things. But as long as you're investing in the right things in a smart way and you're doing it effectively, then you can get excited about the fact that you're investing in it. Like, for example, lately I've restarted my yoga practice. And with my yoga practice, I'm getting more mature and I'm seeing the value of the practice more and more as I develop myself. And like I'm more excited now than ever about doing my yoga practice because I realize that every hour I put into it, that is directly investing into my own consciousness a little bit, drop by drop by drop every single day. And it doesn't seem like a lot, a drop, imagine sort of an eyedropper. And you're dropping one little drop into a giant bathtub. It's an empty bathtub. And you're just walking in every single day and you're going drop, and then you're walking away. And then the next morning you're walking in there and going drop, and then you're walking away. And you're doing that every single day. Only one drop. See, most people would get very discouraged about this because they would see, they would look at the bathtub, they would look how big it is, they would look at the little drop, they'd see how small it is, and they'd say, oh, this is hopeless, this is impossible. But to me, this can kind of be reframed. I like to reframe this in my mind to say this is actually amazing because I know that everybody else is going to be discouraged by this process and is going to quit. And all I have to do is just keep doing drop by drop by drop by drop by drop every single day. And in 10 years, I'm going to be the only person with a full bathtub. And then people will wonder, how did your bathtub get full? What's the secret? Tell me the secret. How can I fill up my bathtub in one weekend? Well, you can't. Because all you have to work with is this little eyedropper. See, the human mind is a very stubborn beast. It takes years and decades to rewire your mind, how it works, its belief structures, and so forth. You can't change these things overnight. And so one of the mistakes fools make, is that they undertake a strategy of a sort of a spasmodic, obsessive strategy of what they will do is they will try to, they won't use the eyedropper. Instead, they'll get a giant bucket. And they'll take the bucket and they'll try to, throw a whole giant bucket into the bathtub all in one go. And then it's going to backfire on them. It's not going to work. Most of that water is going to spill back out, spill over them. It's going to make a giant mess. They're going to get discouraged by it and they're going to quit the next day. Whereas if you were just patient and you did drop by drop by drop very carefully every single day, very accurately, drop by drop by drop by drop, you would fill your bathtub. But, a fool isn't patient enough to do that. So the fool is just fumbling around and thinks he can just take in one day or in one weekend, he can just do something very rapidly that's going to change the whole situation. And it doesn't work that way because your mind, like I've talked about in the past in my ego backlash episode, is like a harmonic oscillator. It's an organic system. It's a nonlinear system. That means any change you make to your mind, like a pendulum, it swings back and forth. Or like a spring, you pull it back, you let it go. It does this. It does a sort of oscillating motion. That's how organic complex systems tend to work because they are homeostatic. So the human mind is like that. You can't achieve deep spiritual purification in one weekend or in one retreat. You have to do retreat after retreat after retreat after retreat after retreat after retreat after retreat. And then 10 years of that will radically change your mind. But on a daily basis and even on a weekly basis, you don't see the changes so much, and that's what can be discouraging. Most people, when they sit down to meditate, they're not sensitive enough to really feel the change that this makes. There's a change that it makes on a temporary basis, like on your temporary state for the next hour or for the next day. That's irrelevant. That comes and goes. But there's also a secondary change it makes at a deeper structural level of your mind where it purifies your mind a little bit, but only a tiny bit. Like every hour you meditate effectively, maybe it purifies your mind by 0.00001%. It's virtually imperceptible. It's like a little drop in the bathtub. And so it's easy to discount the value of that. We want some kind of magic pill that will give us like a 10% increase or a 20% increase in our consciousness or in our love or in our sense of humor or in our business. But usually that's not possible, let alone a 200% increase. That's how these get-rich-quick schemes, they fool you. And even a lot of self-help teachers and seminars, they will fool you telling you like, come to this workshop and we will teach you how to fix your marriage in a weekend, or how to rid yourself of insecurity and social anxiety in a single weekend, or take this course and this will solve for you all your money problems, or all of your problems with attracting women. And of course, none of these can deliver on that promise. And then you get discouraged by self-help, you just get discouraged by business courses, you get discouraged by all these books and other things you've read. But you know what? It's sort of your fault, because the reality is that these books and courses are marketed to people like you because you wouldn't buy a book or a course or a product or a service or a workshop or a seminar or whatever. You wouldn't buy it if the truth was told to you that it's going to take you 10 years to build this business. It's going to take you 10 years to achieve your awakening. It's going to take you 10 years to solve your social anxiety. Because you're a fool. And these courses and books and products are all targeted towards fools. Because there's not enough wise people to make a business. Gearing your business towards the wise is not very smart. It's if you want to make a lot of money, gear your business towards the biggest fools. So when it comes to spiritual work, this is where you require the most patience and the most maturity and the most strategic approach. And this is why most people have never felt the fruits of spiritual work. They don't even believe there are the fruits. Like many of the fruits that I talk about or promise, people will say that I'm crazy or that I'm a cult leader or that I'm imagining things or that I'm delusional to promise these fruits, because these people have never, they can't, their worldview is so limited, they can't even imagine the possibility of these fruits. Let alone, never mind actually working towards them for years. Spiritual practice is some of the most challenging work that you can do. It's the deepest kind of investment you can make in yourself. And it needs to be done really over a period of decades. You need to have a very patient attitude, a very long time horizon, a very deep vision to access these fruits for most people. Some people are more spiritually gifted, they can do it faster. But for the majority of people who are not especially spiritually gifted, it'll take years and decades. Now you might say that's so negative and depressing. Actually, no. I'm delivering to you a very positive message, is that in 10 years' time, you can experience incredible fruits in your life. 10 years is not that long. 10 years of your life will pass so quickly. And one of the most depressing things that will happen to you is if you let the next 10 years pass without making any investments. And then 10 years will pass, and then you'll realize what I told you 10 years from now, on your 40th birthday or 50th birthday, you'll realize what I'm telling you here, and you'll say, oh, fuck, how I wish that I listened to Leo and actually disciplined myself when I was in my 20s and in my 30s and in my early 40s to make these investments. Because now I would be living the high life. I would be coasting off the dividends. I would be living off the dividends. I could do a sort of early retirement, early spiritual retirement, rather than slaving away at this stuff when I'm in my 50s and 60s and I'm getting close to the end. Life really is about investing in yourself very deeply as early as possible and doing it as much as humanly possible every single day.